Okay, we are back once more with our Stream 11 laptop. And let me wait for Amazon to come up here. And there we go. Okay, we are back in business. So after 4 days, it has finally updated. So we are going to be now actually running some software on this thing to see how it performs. So I'm going to be capturing some B-roll of various things for the review that I'll be shooting later today. So that is what is on the docket. And I'm just looking for all of my extra parts here. I had a bunch of stuff fly off my desk here, so now I'm trying to figure out where all the things I needed are. But we will come back to that in a second here. Okay. Let's make sure the YouTube thing is working, and we will carry forward. And I think that I might have forgotten to set the YouTube to public. Let's see. No, we're good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so everybody, this is the HP Stream 11, and I am in the process of getting ready to record a review of it. But before I do, I have to test everything. So I wanted to load up a few games and kind of see how it all functions. And let me see if I got to reload Steam here, and I've got a virus warning. Let me just check that real quick. So the good news is that we've gone through now all of the updates, and this took, I would say, about from start to finish, probably about 3 or so hours to get it all fully updated. And then it finally got to the point where it functions normally. So what we found before was that the curb appeal of this was rather difficult, because when you took it out of the box, you had all of this stuff that you had to do first and wait for the updates. And the problem with the updates was that they took so long to run in the background, and then they got even longer because this thing was throttling itself, and that really prevented it from getting up to speed quickly. But the good news now is that we have a functional computer here that seems to be performing fine. I was concerned that Windows 11 on this low-end hardware was going to be a problem. And as it turns out, once you get the updates pushed down, it's not as big of a deal. So it seems to be working about as good as it can work in this whole thing here. William Wilkinson, hello there. Welcome to the live stream. And I'm just going to load up Steam real quick. So I want to capture some game footage. So let's see what we have for games on here. And what I'm going to do is pair up my Xbox controller with it. And we're going to do some Xbox cloud streaming, and we're going to do a couple of games. So let me get my Xbox controller out. And we're going to pair it up. So I got my controller here, and we're just going to pair this thing up. So my advice for people is going to be that when you get this thing, you're going to want to update it and this like come back a couple hours later, because that really killed my first experience with it. So now we're going to add the game controller. And I think that's what I just clicked on here. Let's see. All right. So we're good to go there. And that'll help us for the Game Pass stuff. What I'm going to run first, though, is Half-Life 2. Because this is the kind of game that will run on here. You're not going to get much more advanced than this. So I think the older games, and we did a little bit of this with another computer the other day. And I should probably, well, I'll play with the trackpad here. See if I can find my mouse. Here's my mouse. The good news is you got a bunch of USB ports on this computer, so that's somewhat helpful. And by the way, I think the battery life on this is going to be pretty good, provided you stick to the basics. And the reason is that the entire computer is a battery. It's got a big battery on board. So I'm just going to set this to 720, to its native resolution, 1360 by 768. And we'll hit apply here. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of that. Now this is an older game, right? I mean, it's not something that's going to tax the hardware of most major or most modern computers. But I think it will be playable. So let me get my recording set up here. And here's, Robert says, battle for the bottom of the barrel, HP Stream 11 versus Nintendo Switch. I think the Switch will beat it handedly. What do you think? Yes, the Windows update 2 days later. In fairness, it was done the following day, but I had to go teach, so I didn't have time to finish working on it. Although what happened was every time I updated it, there was another update that was dependent on the one I just installed. So it was a constant. If you just leave it, it's going to update in the background, but it takes forever, and it slows down the computer like tremendously. So there's a lot to this that you really need to get right ahead of time. And it's funny, I just ran into our school IT director, stopped by to pick up something. I donate stuff to the school all the time, and she stopped by to pick up something. And I was telling her about this thing because they manage a lot of Chromebooks, and the Chromebooks really come up quicker there. All right. Yeah, this was about a 3-hour ordeal. And that was having to babysit it, because if I didn't babysit it, it would go to sleep, and then you'd have to come back up. And so what I kind of want to get across in the review is that, and it's funny how we spend so much time on such a cheap computer, but you know what? There's a lot of people looking for a cheap computer, and whoa, let's turn the volume down. The sound is pretty loud on this thing. My goodness. Let me get our guy into the right spot here. I want to record some B-roll. So it's running. It's running at 60 right now. Let me see if so make sure the V sync is not set on here. So we have it on high settings, and V sync is disabled. Okay, good. All right, so let me just get my notes together here. And we'll get some B-roll recorded. All right. But I ran some benchmarks on it earlier, and it looks like it's performing about where I would expect it to perform. The one thing that it is hindered by is that it is only running in single channel memory mode, because it only has one stick of RAM essentially. And so because of that, I forgot how to get out of this area here. Because of that, it won't perform as well as it could. So for example, we're doing about like 45 to 60 frames per second right now. I'll do another run here so we can get a better view of it. So this hardware could do better. Like, the Intel processor on board could do better than this. But, it's playable. Older games. These guys are pretty aggressive. I mean, he must have it on the harder mode. But it runs okay. But this is an old game, right? I mean, it's not going to run Doom Eternal or whatever. But you'll get about 45 to 60 frames per second in something like Half-Life 2. It will not run Half-Life Alyx in VR, by the way. That's an awesome VR experience if you haven't played it yet. This was a great game. You have to give it to Valve. They don't make many games, but the ones that they do make are really good. So there you go. Yeah, so we're going to call this one at around 40 to 60 frames per second. It's quite a range, actually, of performance that I'm seeing out of it. All right, so let me go into my B-roll here and just log that clip that we just recorded. So this is going to be Half-Life 2. Now, I did install Minecraft from Game Pass. I think Game Pass installs the Java version, so let me see what version loads up. The Windows version will run fine. Actually, maybe we'll do Rocket League next, because that's updating. Let's do Rocket League and just see if it'll even run. Rocket League really likes dual channel memory, and I don't know how well it's going to perform. But if you're into old games, it'll work great. Aj is here. Been following me since my HP Stream 13 review. That's why I bought the laptop and used it to play League of Legends. Awesome. So you've been getting a lot of life out of that thing. It's been a while since I think I looked at that Stream 13. And Mark makes a good point here. Single stick, the bane of PC buying. Yeah, it doesn't even have a slot for a second one. Some of these do. I think the Asus L210 we looked at a while back, that one has a little more. And I'm in the same boat as you, Martin. What I need is like time to play it, because I have to have the energy, and the kids need to be somewhere other than under my feet. So that's part of it. So we're just going to wait for this to update, another update. Maybe we'll move on to something else while this is updating. So I think what I'll do, and actually I got to pause the updates because we don't want things updating in the background while we're trying to run something else. So I will pause this and we'll come back to it. Let me load up and let me get rid of some extra stuff here. Oh, you got to be kidding me. There's another update? Seriously? Hang on a second. This has been like the most... Look at this. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Another update. They say it only will take 5 minutes. Do we dare do it? I'm going to delay that because it has installed it, so it's not going to be impacting our... I don't know what version of Windows 11 they imaged on here, but it was like, they may as well have just had you like re-download the whole operating system and start from scratch. Because I'm done with updating this thing. And yeah, so you got your eMMC and the single channel memory. So you are definitely in the low end of the spectrum. But, what's the market for this? The market for this is a Chromebook user. And so this is the Windows equivalent of a Chromebook. The big difference, though, is that it takes 3 hours to update it when you first get it. And you're still updating it 2 days later. So I figured I would just show like what Game Pass games you can expect to run on here. This is probably the only one. But why not, right? Does it run Doom? Yes, it runs Doom better than my 486-25 from 1993. Actually, to be honest with you, it doesn't feel all that quick. But you know what's cool, though, is that this version has the Roland MT32 soundtrack. This is the one you'll find on Game Pass. This game was so groundbreaking in its day. Yeah. Okay. We got enough out of that one. Let's take a look. So yeah, Doom, no problem. Next up, we are going to check out some streaming. And I think that's where on this one the real value prop will be for this, because these do well as game streaming devices. Now you can use a Chromebook for game streaming too. So that's another factor here. Got some new followers on Amazon to welcome. I've got Craig Pierpoint, an Amazon customer, an anonymous follower. Thank you for the follows. Aj wants to know, is it using the same panel that it had on the... Yes, this looks like the TF panel that was on the other ones. Doesn't look much different. It looks better on camera than it actually looks in person, I would say. And this is a 1366 by 768 display. And John would choose Chrome OS over Windows 11. I think on this level of hardware, I would agree with you. You know, what we mentioned last time... so there was a Patch Tuesday yesterday. But I updated yesterday. So here's what I did with this. I got back from my class. I came down here and updated it last night. So maybe it just didn't get Patch Tuesday until today. And Ian on the Amazon chat says you can run Chrome OS. Yeah, Chrome OS on this hardware would run a little better. And of course, it's more limiting. Although now with Linux on Chrome, you do get a lot of stuff now that you weren't getting before. But I will say that, and I saw this in the benchmarks, that once all the updating is done, and you've got it to a stable point like we have right now, it really functions fine. It performs where it should, even compared against the Windows 10 machine. So there you go. All right, so now I want to try some Game Pass streaming. And we have my Xbox controller configured for that. So let's go into Xbox. And this is where I think you get the most out of one of these things. Now you could do this on a Chromebook through the browser, and this runs through the native app. So what we're going to do here is go to Cloud Gaming. And it's got the 100 or so games that you can stream from the cloud. So you can do Rainbow Six Siege. It's funny that Forza Horizon 4 is more popular than 5. And some of these games that stream are streaming the console versions. So the mouse may not work as an input device. But why don't we do Forza 5? So Ian in the chat says, I have an HP Stream 13, just like Aj on the YouTube chat has. Dug it up last year and it was so slow. Turned it into a Chromebook and it was night and day. Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's something to be said about a lower overhead OS, for sure. And yes, we are going to try Ubuntu in a few minutes, because that's what I've got bootable. So that is the next thing we're going to do after we do a little game streaming here. So hit the A button here. A little flakiness on that. Now I have it connected over Wi-Fi. And that's actually a good use case here, because most people will be using this on Wi-Fi. And now what you're looking at here, and and maybe Ian, if you don't mind, in the Amazon chat, just drop in a chat real quick, because I don't have the ability to quickly type in there, to say that this is streaming and not running natively on the computer. All right, let's do. I want to drive my Corvette Stingray here. Let's get in the car. There we go. Diego says, updating your system for 2 days has has its charm. I still have the Lenovo one that I've got to look at too. So hopefully, I think that one might also have to go through the same rigmarole. Mark is wondering, does this have Ethernet? No, it doesn't, but you could plug in an Ethernet adapter over USB. Those are inexpensive enough. All right, let's do a little recording here. Actually, I'll start in a minute. So I'm feeling the rumble on the controller. And I don't know if you get the rumble on Chrome OS when you're running it on the browser. So it's a little more of a complete experience on the Windows app version here. But it seems to be doing okay. I'm getting a little bit of, oops, see that? Some artifacts coming in. And I don't know if that's a function of the Wi-Fi or if it's something related to the computer's ability to decode the video quick enough. It feels okay. But you see that? It's glitching every once in a while here. And it's definitely not bandwidth because we are connected to my Wi-Fi, which is right above it. And I've tested a lot of other computers in this spot. I'd be interested to see, Eric did one again, I wonder if we should try the web version and see if that runs better than the app does. But we're getting like a regular glitchiness here. And it usually happens when you have a very quick change of the video image here. So if we go from the rear to the front, you'll see this kind of pop up. See that? There it goes again. Yeah. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try something else here. So we're going to back out of the game. And I should be able to hit my Xbox button here. There it goes. Oops. This is the game bar. Oh, I wonder if that's part of it. And what's interesting is that because the game bar is activated, I can't control the app. I wonder if this game bar is like recording in the background. I'm going to turn off the game bar. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, it seems it's still, yeah, it's still doing it. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, so I'm not too impressed with this so far. I can't get out of the game either. So I'm going to try. See, now it's getting bogged down again. I think this could be a couple of things. One, it could be the fact that we only have 4 gigs of RAM on board. Let's take a look at the memory usage. It could be that we're in single channel mode. There's a whole host of issues there. Ronnie was wondering, is this GeForce Now? No, we were doing Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Oh, you know what's going on? Steam is like running these freaking updates. Steam is running an update in the background, and I wonder if that was impacting things. I'm sure it was. All right, so let me pause this. I'm going to quit Steam. And we're going to try this again. And this is one of those things where, you know, we're getting so spoiled with our fancy 8-core computers, right? So like my machine that runs this chat is, you know, 8 cores. It's got 16 logical cores with all the hyper-threading and everything else. So it's got a lot more capability than, of course, this little dual-core machine has. Ian says no, so the USB-C port, as far as I know, will only do, we can test it real quick. it does not do video output, and I don't believe it supports power either. We'll check that right now. I just have to eject my drive here. But I think the issue we just had was over the fact that we had Steam updating a game in the background. So that was probably why that was going on there. Let's move this out of the way for a second. And I meant to actually test the power on this, so let's try that now and see what happens. Yeah, this is not charging. So this does not support power delivery. And because it has an HDMI output, I suspect that the USB port does not support video output either. All right, so let's try Forza 5 again. Now that Steam is not running. You know what's funny? You know, I don't typically, even on these older machines, I never really spent a lot of time checking to see what was running the processor. But now I kind of am because this thing is it does not like to multitask very well. All right, so this is, I'm going to try this again and see what we get here. All right, so now the game bar is off, Steam is out, so hopefully this will help. Darren Buss is here. Yeah, I'm surprised, Dodge, that they didn't go too much further. It is, so the last stream that I looked at was back in 2016. And that one had the Braswell processor. So this one has the Gemini Lake refresh from last year. So it's a little more up to date. But there is a whole new, there's the Jasper Lake processor that's out now. Ian's asking, can you upgrade the hardware? No, this one is completely locked down. So there is a teardown on the HP support page. And you can see the insides, but there is no way to upgrade the RAM on this. If I remember correctly, one of the earlier versions of the stream was upgradable, but this one is not. All right, let me go back to Game Pass here because it seems to have timed out on us. So you can stream Doom from, the original version of Doom, you can stream from Game Pass. If you ever wanted to do that, now you can. And yes, I've got my coffee mug here. This was a customer from my old job. They printed on cups, and they had a big 50th anniversary party one year that we got invited to, and they gave everybody coffee mugs. And these are the real nice mugs. It's it's a like the diner quality. So I have not seen these Beeline Ryzen 7 mini PCs, but I like the idea of a Ryzen 7 mini PC because they would perform better than a laptop would, just because they can cool themselves better and get more power available to them. All right, so now it's stuck. So maybe I'm going to just reboot the Xbox app. I think I upset it when I quit the game so abruptly. So let's see if we can just reset game Xbox here and see if that helps at all. So we'll go back to Xbox. And I'm just trying to, I need to make a verdict on the game streaming capacity here. And Ian makes a good point. I think this would have been better as a $200 PC. And I almost wonder if we were not in this weird situation we're in right now with supply chain issues, if this one might not have been a $200 PC. Gosh, it's really doggone. I'm going to reboot it. All right, I can restart it without updating it. So that's what we're going to do. And Gizmo Games raises a similar question, like, why are they so expensive? Well, you know what's funny is that when I first started doing this was a steal for a mini PC, like $249 for a laptop. Oh my goodness. And they performed pretty well. I got to say, you know, I still feel like, and look, all my data says that this does not perform any different than a Windows 10 equivalent performs. But for whatever reason, the Windows 10 OS on this hardware feels faster, even though all my data says it's the same. So take that for what it's worth. William was wondering, did I check out the Shang-Chi or No Time to Die movies? I have not. I have so much stuff that I want to watch that I hope to in the near future. What I want to see, I think it lied to me. I think it is doing the update again. I am, though, carving out time this evening to watch the finale of Boba Fett. And then I got to wait for the Obi-Wan show. Mirror Trunks is here. So far, it's a good afternoon. I'm a little behind on my production schedule. I wanted to be a little bit further along, partly because this stupid thing took so long to update. I wanted to be shooting the video yesterday on this, or the day before yesterday. Actually, no, I wanted to shoot it yesterday. And I couldn't shoot it yesterday because I didn't have time to go through all the stuff because it wasn't done updating. This was not something you can just set and forget and have it update, so it was troubling. What is it doing now? Did you see that? I don't know what's going on. There it goes. Okay. So the price point on this laptop is $249 right now. Although I suspect it's going to come down in price at some point in the near future. But see, this is what happens. Like it works fine, and then it gets like this. So I wonder, you know, when you do our benchmarks, a lot of it is single task. You know, so I wonder maybe if it's just this lack of cores and the slow disk I/O that is impacting things here. We'll have to see. Gaming with Nirab is here. Thank you. Yeah, we're having fun. I do these streams quite frequently, and what's fun about these is that I get a lot of good feedback from all of you. And we simulcast on Amazon. So Amazon is one of my core streaming locations. All right, so let's try this Forza Horizon stream thing again. And now we don't have anything else loaded that's going to interfere with the network, unless it decides to update in the background again. But yeah, I think the challenge I have is that my benchmarks indicate that it performs on par with a Windows 10 machine. But my gut is that Windows 11 is causing some challenges here. I'm just watching the opening screen here to see. It looks like it might be doing a little better now. This is a pretty game. And Metal Jesus just did a video on this. I gotta watch it because I haven't yet figured out like what to do in this game, and I haven't done much with the prior Forza games, so I'm kind of new to the series, and I get the sense that it's really about collecting the cars, right? Is that what it's about? And this is streaming from Xbox Cloud Gaming. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so now we're going to repeat what we did before. And what I'm looking for here is whether or not we get that artifacting and that stream reset. And it looks like we were seeing it already at this point. Yeah, it's doing better. So that was a bandwidth issue, and that was on me because that was Steam updating. This is running much better now. See, I'm not seeing it yet. Let's take a little off-road action here. Oop. Yes, I mean it's sometimes hesitating a little bit, but it's not as bad as it was before. Oh, there it goes again. Nope, I take it back. Yeah, so Xbox Cloud streaming through the app is not great. I mean, it's fine, it functions, but it runs better on a Chromebook. No, what we could do to like put this to bed, see that? It has like a little reset. No, what we could do to put this to bed is we could try to do it through the browser, which I think I'm going to try next. Ever thought about going off-road in a Corvette? Now you can. Look at that. All right, so I'm going to stop recording that. So Miller wants to know on Amazon, am I Rams or Bengals? I am the worst guy to ask about, or Bengals. I'm the worst guy to ask anything on football because I have no opinion. I will probably watch the game, but I spend most of my life as a nerd down in my basement making YouTube videos. So I don't have much of an opinion, unfortunately. Yeah, you know what's funny? Usually the Xbox button works on the app here, but it doesn't seem to be working in this instance. There we go. We can just close it out here with the game. Okay, so now what I want to try, so it definitely wasn't the bandwidth from Steam earlier. So I am going to load up Chrome and try to back into it that way. Because you can play cloud gaming on a browser. That's how you get it to work on the Chromebooks. So I have to log into my account real quick, and then we can get that to work. And sometimes the web browser works better because it has less of an overhead. And Miller wants the Rams to win the Super Bowl. I should do like I'm sure somebody's doing this, like do that thing where they put it into the Madden football game and see how it, like see who wins based on the stats. Oops. Give me a second, everybody. I got to look up my Microsoft thing here. Getting 1 second. Oops, wrong. I have a million Microsoft accounts also. Here we go. Okay. I need that one. I gotta do my two-factor. All right, there we go. So we are now going to see if the browser does better than the app. And I suspect it might, but we'll figure it out for sure in a minute. I started playing this one, Jedi Fallen Order, also. But you know what it is? Like, I just can't get into one of these really time-consuming kind of games. There we go. Okay, so the controller works with it. So let's go into Forza 5. And let's see how that does. All right, so now we're running it through the web browser. And how do I go full screen? Is it F11? I think it is F11. There we go. Okay. So now this is, instead of the app, we're using the browser now, and what I'm looking for is whether or not we're going to get those weird compression artifacts. Now this is normally how you would do Game Pass streaming on a Chromebook, because they don't have the app. I guess you could run the Android app, but it works better through the browser. Oh, is there a Nintendo Direct today, Jared? I had no idea. I may tune in for that myself. I'm curious. I love Nintendo. my daughter was playing. I bought the kids, so there was a 2-for-1 sale at one of the game things, so I got my kids a bunch of Switch games over Christmas. So we were playing Pokemon Snap, and my daughter's been loving that game. All right, so now we're in the browser. It actually runs better on the app than it does in the browser, to be honest. Yeah, it's not running too good. Yeah, there's some real just like performance issues with this, and I'm thinking this is like a Windows 11 problem, because these don't usually perform this poorly. Maybe it just needs to settle down. Yeah, see, it's still like dropping frames and glitching. Yeah. I mean, I'm not getting the artifacting. I mean, it's better than nothing, of course, but I think Chrome OS does better with the same hardware. You know, it's going to be interesting when we look at that Lenovo, because I got a Lenovo in similar, almost exactly the same hardware specifications, also running Windows 11. And I might start setting it up and have it update until the next stream. Yeah. Yeah, so it runs better in the app, but it's glitchy in both. The odd thing is that my Xbox button works here, but it doesn't work on the other thing. All right, quick game. Okay. So yeah, I think that might be the issue, Brian, is the fact that these run in single channel memory mode, and these Intel GPUs, they need that memory bandwidth. Ooh, 5 p.m. Eastern, perfect. I might tune in for that. If not, I'll watch it later tonight on. Actually, you know what I usually watch? I watch all my fellow YouTubers covering it, because then I get a shorter you get a shorter thing there. Mark wants to know, can you get it to stream if I click the 3 dots? I think it will do that, but I think it does that through their cloud service, not through the hardware here. All right, so let's undo the full screen. Okay. So the verdict is game streaming, not so good. I suppose we could probably try GeForce Now. I just don't want to spend too much more time on this, because it just doesn't feel like I'm going to see much of an improvement. But let's just do it. And I'll install their app, so we're running it natively. So let's download the app here. But yeah, you see how it just feels sluggish? And like that's like I said, like running a benchmark, it's fine. It's just the experience has been one that I just feel like there's something not quite right about how Windows 11 handles this stuff. Unless this update that's waiting for us is going to fix some of those issues. I don't know if it is. Let's take a look and see what's covered in there. Because the video driver has been updated. So if we search that knowledge base article, back in my day, you used to have to call a phone number, type in the knowledge base article, and I think they would, or you either go on their BBS or they would fax it to you. All right, so this is mostly a security update. It has some LDAP changes. There's an update to the updater. But it doesn't look like it's got anything related to video performance. So let's see how GeForce Now does. Yeah, back to the update simulator. Oh my goodness. Here's a good question. How much more would someone have to, I mean, I think if you got into like one of those $700 PCs, it would not be as bad as this. Because I think when you cross the line from Gemini Lake refresh chips to you know, an i7, i5, you probably get an i5 in this around that price point. I think the performance profile changes significantly. But yeah, yeah, something's not right with Windows 11 on this low-end hardware. Windows 10, like I said before, like Windows 10 actually ran better than 8 did on lower-end hardware. In fact, I was getting it working on, I have a little tablet upstairs that I think only has a gigabyte of RAM. And it's like one of those Atom processors. It was an HP tablet. It's like a little 8-inch thing. It still works. I have it upstairs somewhere. Windows 10 runs fine on it. And, you know, you can't do anything crazy, but it was. I recall it being way better than I expected it to be. And typically with these Stream laptops, I'm usually like really gung-ho about them because I feel like they're, you know, if you're looking for a little Windows computer, they're often a good value. But I think Windows 11 is really not quite suited for this chip. I mean, it's not a dud, but it could be better. All right, let's log in here. And I'm going to log in, and then what I'll do is we'll do this, and then I'll do the Linux test. We'll boot up Linux on it. And I have a feeling it's going to work a lot better in Linux. In fact, I almost know it will. Also of note, this only has 4 gigs of RAM. So if the RAM profile of Windows 11 is, you know, if the baseline memory requirements is more significant, that of course is going to have an impact too, right? So there's some thoughts here. I'm just going to confirm my sign in here. All right. Do my authenticator here. I have 2 factors of 2 factors on my NVIDIA account. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So Mark Dell has a HP, an XP. Yeah, my brother had had a Toshiba from that era. Those Windows Pen computers, right? All right. So let's do our usual. We can do a couple different ones, but let's see. I think I've got. Why don't we do Road Redemption? We haven't played that one in a while. This will be a good test because this one is. I don't have Forza 5 on my Steam account, so this will be a good kind of equivalent to that. And now this is running through GeForce Now. So let's see if the frame rate is more solid with GeForce Now, because this could very well be an issue just related to how the Microsoft thing works versus this one. Uh-oh, Jared said his, yeah, it looks like you got a different profile picture than usual. Yeah, I haven't changed mine in like 10 years. All right, here we go. So this game is like an homage to Road Rash. And it's kind of like, it's kind of crazy. Like there's like one level where they just drop cars on your head from, kind of nuts. All right, so let's just play this out here and see how this runs. So I'm curious now if GeForce Now might work a little better. Yeah, you know, it feels a little better on GeForce Now, to be honest. That looks better, everybody, doesn't it? What a fun game this is. Yeah, I have to say they actually do. If you're into Road Rash, this is like the way that a modern Road Rash game would be. Like it's just got the combat. They've kind of refined the combat a bit. Like you whack their helmets off their head. It's kind of fun. And they have all these little diversions you can take. And there's apparently like a career mode. So there's progression in the game. So you can kick. I mean, some of the physics, obviously, you can see they're kind of ridiculous, but GeForce Now is definitely better than Xbox was here. So it could just be some code optimization on the Xbox app, or even how they stream. And also, GeForce Now is more demanding on its bit rate too. So this is surprising that this is running as good as it is. There we go. Yeah. Again, we're streaming this game, not playing it locally. Ooh, I hit a dumpster. But there you go. So yeah, so I think that might have been a little issue with the Xbox game streaming thing. So it's good that we tried GeForce Now. Okay. Next up, we're going to do a little Linux. And I got to find my boot drive. But Bryant is right. Yeah, I could not see. So we have, at my school system, we have every kid, every single child in the school system equipped with a computer of similar configuration to this one. And those perform better doing the things that this would do. So when I shoot the review, I'll also be running Microsoft Word. So we'll see how that performs. I think that'll do fine. All right, let's see what we got here. And Jared suggests that perhaps NVIDIA has a better encoder. So that could very well be making a difference. In fact, this stream that you're watching is benefiting from the NVIDIA encoder, because my vMix system relies on the built-in NVIDIA encoder to deliver what you are seeing to you. All right, so let's reboot. I still have to do my update video of GeForce Now, because I'm on that new tier that they implemented, so you get like the 3080. So Mark Dell played that game for a very long time. I still have a thing for the 3DO Road Rash. That one tickles my Road Rash love. I missed my opportunity to change the boot order here, so we'll have to reboot a couple more times. That's the other thing on these faster computers. It's like super quick to get going. Here it's like, please wait an hour and a half to boot Windows. All right. Yeah, I almost feel like they should have equipped this with 8 gigs of RAM, and that might have made a better. So I wonder how much is getting swapped out also. We may want to look at that. All right, we're going to let this reboot. So Mark was playing on the Amiga, the original. I'm going to see if F10 is what it wants me to hit here. Let's see. F10, 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 F12. Nope, neither one of those. Must be F2. So we'll wait for the next cycle. Well, it says F10 is typical. Okay, so let's try F10. So I'll wait for the next boot cycle here. This might get a little unbearable because I have to get F10, and I don't know if I have to hit F10 while with the function key or with the regular key itself. So we'll try both. But it looks like F10 is what it wants me to hit. Mark wants to know, will I use, yeah, so I want to do native Word, because I think that's why, I mean, like, that's why you would buy this, to run Microsoft Word locally, right, without the browser. So I'm going to hit this one, I'm going to do, there it goes. Okay, good, now we're in. All right, it has a system log, how about that? So let's, oops, I upset it. Do not taunt the computer. All right, so where is my boot option? System configuration, virtualization technology, boot options, here we go. Boot order. So I'm going to have it do my USB one first. It's F5. It's got an old school beep to it, doesn't it? All right, so we'll save changes and exit. And now we're going to boot from the external drive. So here's a good tip. You know, I've always been a BIOS button masher, but apparently you can just hold them down. Maybe that's what I'll do in the future. You know what it is? I never know, because I look at so many different computers. Like, some are delete, some are F2, some are F10, so you never know exactly which one to push. But yeah, it does exactly sound like it sounds exactly like an Apple II, doesn't it? This could run Apple II software as an emulation for sure. But we're making more progress on this than we did on the other one, isn't it? And I am going to get started on the Lenovo after we finish up this, this B-roll. And then I'm going to shoot this one, because now I've got enough to shoot a video. All right, we're just going to wait for it to go up. So what I usually do with these Linux tests, and I've asked the audience about this, what I typically do is boot up Ubuntu in the live mode, just because I'm looking to see, like, how hard is it to get Linux to run on it, you know, without installing it and having to reinstall Windows and all that. Because we review so many computers that I found that this is a good way to measure the basics. Because what's nice about Ubuntu's live mode is that you have Firefox installed, you've got the full LibreOffice suite, so you've got a really good collection of software to kind of gauge what the Linux experience is like. But it looks like it is booted up for us here. And Mark slams the whole row intentionally. So Meritrunks hasn't been a fan of HP laptops, but recently got one with the Intel 7505. And it looks like you're enjoying that. That's a pretty good price. I probably, unless I get one in, I likely will not, because so many people review those Samsung phones, it's hard for me to be competitive. Like, same with the iPhone, it's hard for me to do well with that. All right, so now what I want to do is see if I can get the Wi-Fi going. So it looks like Wi-Fi is working. So that is good. I'm just going to connect to my network here. It looks like I have audio. Let's see if the Bluetooth is detected. Let's go Bluetooth settings. Let's see if it finds, yep, Bluetooth is working too. All right, so it actually feels quicker. Like, honestly, it really feels like, I don't know if this is like a placebo effect or not. But it feels a little bit quicker here than it does on the Windows side. Yeah, again, less overhead. And it's running off of an external USB drive. Well, Firefox is taking a little bit longer to come up. Oh, what happened to Firefox? Did Firefox crash? There it goes. All right, let's try this again. But this time we're not relying on the eMMC at all, but we are going off of a USB connection. All right, let's try this again. So Firefox. And now it's good. I'll go visit my YouTube channel. And we'll hit the play button here. We can watch my live stream live. How about that? So watch the inception moment here.
So online.
Okay, there we go. We got to get through the ad here. I'm going to skip the ad. All right, so now I'm joining you in the live stream. All right, so let's run this. And that's running nice and quick. Go over to LibreOffice. I'll keep this up in the foreground here. There it goes. Yeah, honestly, it almost feels like Linux is a little faster on this than oops. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I would say buy this and run Linux on it. M7 War wants to know the name of the motorcycle game. It is Road Redemption. And we were streaming that, by the way. M7 War. Hang on a second. Okay. Sorry, my wife had an update for me on something. All right, so it looks pretty good. Corey thought it was Road Rash. Yeah, no, it was inspired by Road Rash, but it was definitely, it's called Road Redemption. And I think it's on Game Pass. I can't remember if it is or not. All right. But yeah, this is a nice Linux experience. I think that one might do better. And we got some discussion in the Amazon chat about the Super Bowl. I should get up on football more so I could be of use in this discussion. Just want to check my Linux footage real quick. Hang on, folks. We're just going to play this back real quick, make sure I got what I need. All right, so let's run this. And that's running. So I'm just checking my footage here just to see if this will work in the video. You know what? One thing I'm noticing, I just want to see something real quick. I wonder if the colors are off on the display. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So have I tried the battery life on this? Yes, it is. The battery life is actually pretty good on it. Again, it depends what you're doing, but the whole computer is a battery. So it's my estimate on this one. I'm going to double check my notes, but my estimate is about 10 to 11 hours, based on the size of the battery and based on the things that you're going to do with it. But I just want to check one last thing, and then we can unbox the next low-end laptop here. Yeah, okay, so the colors are fine. The color looked a little bit off before, but I think it might be the camera angle. So yeah, so the verdict here is that Linux is going to be much more efficient on one of these than Windows 11 is going to be. And you know, in the past, Windows 10 used to do pretty well on this low-end stuff, and I just feel like something's going on with Windows 11 and low-end hardware. Low-end hardware with low-end memory specifications. And it's going to make some notes here. All right, Linux, great. Okay. All right, so I'm going to shut this thing off. And we are not going to go through all of this with the new one, but we are going to start the next one. And we'll see how updated it is when we boot it up. Now, the next one we're looking at is and I'll put it in the Amazon carousel here. The next one we're looking at has the same exact hardware specifications. So it has a N4020 processor, and it is running only with 4 gigs of RAM and a 64 gigabyte eMMC. So specification-wise, this one is similar, but just with a larger display. I got to go grab it real quick from the garage. But we're going to unbox it and see how many updates are waiting for us. And I know I got to WD-40 that door. All right. So let me get this open, and we shall see what awaits us. Maybe I'll turn on the overhead camera here. Yeah, I went shopping. I was like, I haven't looked at some low-end stuff lately, because I've been getting in more higher-end laptops from everybody. So I was like, let's take a temperature of the lower-end markets. And here we are. So this one is the Lenovo IdeaPad 1. And this will also be coming up in an upcoming video. Now, my hope was that we could review all this stuff today, or yesterday, but I am a day behind now. The good news is that I have a video that I shot last week that is ready to go. So we are going to be okay on that front. Okay, so let's move over to the next one here. But yeah, these used to do better on Windows 10, so there's definitely going to be some discussion of this. And Mark Smith is wondering what brightness level. The brightness level would be kind of at the halfway mark. And these things are not very bright to begin with, so that's something to bear in mind. It looks like I bought a blue one. Now it does look as though we can get at the insides here, so maybe we'll take this one apart after we boot it up. And this doesn't look bad, right? It's bigger, so it has a 14-inch display versus the 11-inch on the other one. But the resolution is the same, which means that it's not going to look so great. But what I like about the Lenovo's is the keyboards. So the keyboard, even though this is selling for $244, look at the keyboard. Full size. It's got that same Lenovo keyboard we see everywhere. And yes, so these, Mark, these computers will be on the store once I'm done reviewing them, if anybody still wants them. And I usually sell them at a good discount, so they will be available for anybody who might want them to play around with them. And Corey's got his Ubuntu running on an AMD Ryzen 3200 at a dynamic clock speed of 1.4 to 2.6. So that's one of those things you can tweak a bit, right, on Linux that you can't always do on Windows. Now this one, let's see what we have for ports on this. So this one has no USB-C port. In fact, on the side here, you've got nothing but a headphone jack. So you get a little bit more on the HP. Well, yes, you get an extra USB port on the HP. But you've got your SD card slot on here, too, to augment its 64 gigs of storage. Yes, we're going to boot this up real quick, and then we'll turn it off and take it apart and see what's inside, and then I got it run. So let's take a look at that. And then we'll be back with a part 2 on this one, because I know that there's going to be about a month of updates on this one, too. But oh boy, does that display look terrible. It's as expected, because it's a TN display, and it's 1366 or whatever by 768 at 14 inches. So it just, it's one of those things. It's just not going to look very good. Jared Mohammed says it still has more ports than a MacBook. That's true. On a MacBook Air, for sure. Although you can buy, I think 4 of these for what a MacBook Air might cost you, right? Maybe 3 of them. All right, so we're just going to wait. This, again, is also running Windows 11. So all these newer low-end machines our Windows 11. And we'll go, oh, sorry, we got to go through that whole startup phase. I wonder if I should take it apart first and then go through all this. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Part of me, from an academic exercise, just wants to see if this one has more of a more recent image of Windows 11 than the one we looked at initially, right? We'll see what happens here. Just wait a moment. And maybe while we're waiting, let me see if we can find some intel on this one. Oh, it looks like they may have reviewed it already. Look at Notebook Check's website. So apparently there is an 11-inch version of this. Oh, there's actually a Ryzen one. They have an 11. That might be a hot little machine. A little.
Set up your device using a screen reader.
I don't need to do that.
Turn on narrator by pressing Windows plus Control plus Enter.
Yeah, I don't need
For
to.
more accessibility features, press Windows plus U.
Ooh, this trackpad is spongy. All right, so just looking to see if they've. Yeah, looks like they did do one on Notebook Check. I'm just trying to see if somebody's already taken this apart so we can. Well, they did take it apart on Notebook Check. Perfect. So this is the least expensive computer in Lenovo's lineup. And Laptop Media took it apart on their YouTube channel. So let's take a look and see what it has for upgradability. So it looks like this one does not have any upgradable components on it either. Let me just double check here. I'll save us some time. And it's only got 4 gigs of RAM also. All right, so disassembly and upgrade options. Yeah, so it looks like there's not much that we can do here. Give me 1 sec, I'm just researching something here. And you know what's funny is Asus has this L210 that is much more upgradable. Yeah, so there's no upgradability on this whatsoever. If you look at Laptop Media's YouTube channel, they took it apart already. Yeah. So we're not going to have to do that. Yeah, kind of a dead end, but at least we know. That'll save us a little bit of time here. Yeah, and I'm betting, Roman, these are all single channel. And the display is, yeah, this display is, you get what you pay for kind of thing. So just, you know, just imagine, you know, on an 11-inch, maybe it might be a little bit brighter than the Streams display. But the problem here is that the trackpad is terrible on this thing. The problem is that it's running at the same resolution as that 11-inch display, so it just doesn't look very good. Although, you know, here's what I'll say: it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look. if that is any consolation. But hey, if you're looking for your basic Windows computer, now does this one come with the Microsoft Office like the other one does? Let's see. I don't think it does. So there's an 11-inch and a 14-inch. And on Notebook Check's website, it looked as though they had a... I'm just looking through here. This one also loads up in S mode, by the way. So I don't think... Oh, it does. Okay, so this one comes with a... with Microsoft 365 Personal also. So you get a year of 365 Personal with both of these. Although I don't know what happens, because once I log in with my account, I think it assigns that year to my account. I don't know. We'll take a look. Looks like Luther Gaylord's got some thumbs up on your commentary. I think that's probably sums it up. And I have a feeling that this one is going to give us the same experience. I'm not going to make you sit through the updates. We will come back and do another stream on this one as we start messing around with this, but we'll see where Jake is at. I might just send this one with Jake when he sends back the other computers he's got on his plate for testing. But I think we're, I don't know how you avoid this, but you think about this, like you bring home this new computer, you're all excited, and you're sitting for 2.5, 3 hours, and the computer, even when it comes up, because it's still updating in the background, it's still running like a steaming pile of you-know-what, as Luther puts it. So we'll see what happens. Now, everyone be nice, because Reese is watching this on this very laptop. So once it gets up and running, it's probably capable of doing the job, right? But this is, according to Notebook Check, the least expensive Lenovo laptop you can get. I would have liked a 1080p display, which this I don't believe is. I think it's 1366 by 768. Yeah, they call it an HD. So HD is 720p, and full HD, FHD, is 1080p. And when you get, as Michael puts it here, when you get a Chromebook, it just boots up and you're done. So if this very same hardware had a Chromebook, we'd be in it right now. We'd be logging in. But I guess I should say, now we're logging into Windows, so we're getting somewhere. So let me pop in with my username here. But yeah, this is exactly the same experience we had on the other one, which makes sense because they have the same processor. And Roman says a lot of students will want to unbox. Yeah. In many ways, it kind of reminds me of the Wii U when I got it. I remember writing an article about it because, hang on a second here. I can't think and chew gum at the same time. You had this long wait for it to update before you could actually get into it, right? So it's kind of a similar experience here. I got to tell you, I'm surprised with the trackpad here. Typically, Lenovo, even on their low-end machines, has decent input devices. The trackpad is very springy on this. I'm agreeing to everything. That's not a good thing to do, but whatever. So Jared has a experience for you all. Windows installations are painful. I had to wait an hour for Windows 10 to install on one of my computers, and now the display driver is corrupted. Yep, that is par for the course. Although it's better than it used to be. I remember having to actually, I still do this today, but I remember on my, shoot, I hit the wrong button. I remember on my, let me go back a notch here. On, which one was it? On my 90s era PC, every so often you would have to go in and just wipe it out and start over again because so much crud would build up, right? Yeah, shoot. I set this thing up by accident to sync with my OneDrive account, which I do not want it to do. Oh, I got a free Game Pass. This is a bait and switch if you ever seen one, right? You get free Game Pass. I'm going to skip that for now because, yeah, think about the power of that. That Microsoft is going to be, for every new PC owner, they're going to be presented with a free Game Pass account. That's pretty powerful when you think about how many people that might reach. Although there's probably just as many people buying Xboxes, I guess, right? David Anderson, I believe it does. Can someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it does do that. And here you go. I wonder, you know what it's saying to me? It's saying, we're getting you the next version of Windows. So I wonder if these don't have, because remember we interpreted this on the last stream to mean that it was updating Windows, but I think it's starting without any Windows on it at all, and it's pulling down Windows from Microsoft's server. Which then begs the question, if it's doing this, why isn't it all updated as a package, as opposed to download the OS and then do the updates? Yeah, this is nuts. So yeah, you're gonna be going through the same thing. I'll tell you what, I really feel like Microsoft is hurting themselves at the low end because Chromebooks don't do this. It's not 2 hours to get your... And David suspects that maybe these had 10 on board, and then it could be, you know, although when I booted it up, it was a Windows 11 interface. I wonder if they just changed the game as to how they... Yeah, maybe they want to ensure that the most updated OS gets installed from the get-go. Or that might be the Microsoft account requirement, right? That you have to log in and you have to be on the internet. What happens if you don't have an internet connection and you want to use this laptop? Interesting. Whatever it is, it's not good. That's what I'll say. But we'll see how long this takes. But I think we might... I think we might come back to this one at a later time. So we shall wait. How's the weather, everybody? Yeah, because if I recall correctly, when we did this before, this was like about a 45-minute thing from start to finish. So this is going to extend beyond my schedule here. But yeah, I don't. You know, it's a good question. Are they just giving up the low-end market to Chromebooks? I don't know. It's a good question. I can't imagine them wanting to do that because they're essentially, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Microsoft 365 is very, in my opinion, very close to what Chromebooks would look like. So we'll have to see. So Luther was wondering, how did my class go the other day? Actually went pretty well. So I'm teaching a class, and I did a video about this on Monday. I am teaching a class. I was hired by my alma mater to do an evening class once a week, doing what I do. They want to provide more opportunities for students to have hands-on experience in the things that they're studying academically. So that was the reason for it. So it's good. I had a really good class last week. They were really engaged in coming up with some ideas as to the things that they wanted to do. This week, a lot of the kids didn't do the assignment on time because this is not something you just hand in at the end of the class. Like the class is, we're all watching each other's content, and I was a bit disappointed with the workflow there. So I've got to remind them about the fact that you got to have 5 videos by the end of the semester, and if you fall behind, you know, this is an additive learning process where we're starting from scratch because none of them have really done this before. So we're starting from scratch, and I want to see the progression from the first one to the 5th one. And I'm not going to see that if you just hand them all in at the end of the semester. So we're going to have a little kumbaya next week, I think. So David's got a good point. My guess is some executive wanted a cost savings on the laptop to save dollars. Let's ship laptops with no OS. Yeah, because I mean, you think about a school district having to go through this. And, you know, the Windows operating system is large, right? So you're dealing with a lot more data and a lot more processing than that. It looks like Brian Parker's in the market for a new MacBook. So are you on the... You had one of those Trash Can G Pros, right, Brian? Is that starting to get long in the tooth? But no, they did not ask for my autograph. But Brian, if you want, maybe you can come by and you can audit the class if you want. I got plenty of room. It's a pretty big room, so you're welcome to stop by. Maybe we can take Doug out to eat before we do like a very early dinner. But yeah, this is interesting how these things go. Here's an interesting thought from Mark Dell. Like almost like a thin client laptop, right, that connects to Azure. Because internet connections are getting a lot more reliable even in the home. Oh, David. Oh, thank you, David. Yeah, I haven't seen. I read the story. I was on a meeting when it posted, so I didn't get a chance to actually watch it. But yeah, they're doing. Remember we kind of uncovered those issues with the AirTags when we were reviewing it. And yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you have an iPhone, it tells you it's following you. But if you have an Android phone, you have to go and download an app, and then have that app with you and scan it. Like to know, they've got to standardize these tags so that an Android phone will notify you the same way an iPhone would. That they've got to do that. So, all right. Well, I got to get some work done here because I have a call at 4:30. So if I don't start shooting my video, I'm going to be behind. And we all know how long this is going to take to get to a usable state. So I am going to let this thing update. And yeah, this is exactly, Mark Dell, that's probably why they'll never do it, because it keeps it evergreen. They don't want evergreen. They want you buying more hardware. But we'll see where it goes. I am still using Final Cut. And I love Final Cut. So yeah, so I'm going to run here because I've got to get some work done so that I can keep up with my production schedule, because that other one took so long to get going. And I think the journey on this one is going to be exactly the same as it was on the other one, which means it's going to spend the next 2 days updating. So we're going to let this one update, see if it's any quicker, but I doubt that it will be. And I'm going to go take the dog out for a quick walk and try to bang out a review and then get on my call. So it's going to be one of those days. So thank you all, though, for tuning in. I appreciate the feedback and the company. I work out of my basement. Nobody's around, but I have all of you. So thank you for tuning in, and we will be back with the IdeaPad 1 once it does all of its updating. So that will do it for the time being. So have a good evening, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye-bye.